Heartwarming moment. Girl's incredible plea for a doghouse revealed a hidden millionaire's life. It was the kind of sunny afternoon where hope danced like dandelions in the breeze. Yet shadows loomed large behind the picket fences of Maplevale. The annual family picnic erupted with laughter, kids splashing in the pool, parents chatting over burgers. In the midst of it all stood Emma, a 10-year-old with large, bright eyes and a spirit that could light up the darkest of days. She climbed atop a picnic table, the laughter around her fading as her little heart raced with passion. "We need a doghouse," she exclaimed, her voice breaking through the chatter like a ray of sunlight. "For all the stray dogs. They deserve shelter and love too." Every brow furrowed in curiosity. Her words were a heartfelt plea, clenching hearts and igniting the flames of empathy. Emma's eyes sparkled, alight with determination as she envisioned a world where every abandoned pup found a home, a warm place to rest. Little did she know, her heartfelt message echoed far beyond the picnic grounds, reaching the ears of Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson was a shadowy figure, cloaked in mystery within his grand house on the edge of town. He was a reclusive millionaire, known for his wealth but feared for his silence. Alone, he struggled with the echoes of his past in war and in solitude. Yet as Emma's innocent plea floated to him, memories long buried began to stir. He felt a tug deep within, torn between the walls of his gilded cage and the desire long suppressed to truly connect with the world outside. As Emma organized a vibrant fundraiser filled with colorful decorations and laughter, she faced challenges that threatened her dreams. Town gossip buzzed like bees, with some rallying behind her cause while others turned away, rooted in their own biases. Wasn't it that Emma's job to bridge those gaps? Her spirit stood unwavering. "We can make this happen. Just think of the dogs," she would cry, her enthusiasm infectious yet weighed down by misunderstanding. Nonetheless, she pressed on, determined to embrace the challenge. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The day of the fundraiser arrived, a gorgeous sunlit affair, yet beneath the laughter simmered a tension that mirrored the divide in town. Misunderstandings erupted like fireworks, tempers flared. Emma felt the weight of disappointment as she watched the community she cherished confront itself. In a moment of vulnerability, Mr. Thompson observed from outside the chaos, heart racing into unknown territory. Would he have the courage to step into the sunlight and break free from the shadows? As the conflict peaked, Emma's fervor was woven with doubts, yet hope lingered in the atmosphere thick with uncertainty. Just when despair seemed overwhelming, an unexpected figure emerged from the crowd. Mr. Thompson. His arrival sent a shockwave through the townsfolk, breaking the silence as he dared to defy their preconceived notions of wealth and kindness. Now, all eyes turned to the boyish spirit of hope standing atop the table, waiting for something magical to unfold. Could all of this be the beginning of something transformative? Would the heart of a girl and a hidden millionaire finally unite to shelter not just the dogs, but an entire community yearning for connection? As Mr. Thompson stepped forward from the crowd, the sunlight glinted off his silver hair, giving him a halo of sorts. The chatter dwindled to a murmur, a ripple of wonder sweeping across the park. Emma's heart raced. She couldn't believe the man everyone whispered about was here, right in front of her. What would he say? Would he dismiss her? "Emma," he began, his voice deep yet soft, tinged with an emotion that surprised even him. "What you've done here today is remarkable." He held her gaze, and for a moment, it felt as if the world around them faded away. The laughter, the tension, the doubts, they all ebbed into silence. "I've seen dogs suffer on the streets, just as you have. And it hurts." His admission hung in the air, making the crowd lean in, intrigued. "I've been too afraid to act. But your words, they reminded me why we must care." With that, Mr. Thompson reached into his pocket and pulled out a gleaming check, the paper catching the sunlight like it was alive. "I want to help. Here's my contribution to your cause." Gasps echoed through the crowd. Some were in disbelief while others exchanged glances, their perceptions of the reclusive millionaire shifting in real time. Emma's heart soared, hope budding within her chest like a flower breaking through the winter soil. "Really? You mean it?" Her voice trembled, half expecting this to all be a dream. "Absolutely," he replied, a smile cracking open the stoic facade he'd worn for so long. "I've lived too long in isolation. It's time to step out. I want to be part of this, whatever it takes." Cheers erupted around them, and Emma jumped down from the table, her feet hitting the grass like a springtime burst of energy. She rushed toward him, throwing her arms around his waist. "Thank you. You won't regret this." A few onlookers, however, were not so easily won over. Whispers floated through the air, peppered with skepticism. Had Mr. Thompson simply been moved by Emma's innocence, or was this a publicity stunt to gain favor? Some worried he would back out when the reality of the commitment sank in. Mr. Thompson, sensing the mixed reactions, straightened up. "I understand you might be hesitant." He addressed the crowd, voice steady and strong. "But I ask each of you to join us in this. Together we can make a change." Emma looked at the faces in the crowd, suddenly filled with determination. She couldn't let this chance slip away. "If you want to help, tell your friends. Spread the word. We'll work together to build the doghouse, and then maybe more shelters for animals. We can do so much." Her enthusiasm was impossible to ignore, like a spark that could light up the night. The murmurs began to shift, people whispering, nodding, the tone of the crowd morphing from skepticism to curiosity, to quiet hope. The potential for unity blossomed before them. But just as hope seemed to fill the air, a loud voice cut through the rising excitement. "What about the money?" It was Dave, a local businessman known for his critical views. "Are we sure he's not just throwing cash to clear his conscience?" Emma's heart dropped, anxiety swirling in her stomach. But she stood tall, clutching the edges of the table to steady herself. "This is about more than just money," she replied, her voice steady. "It's about doing something good for our community." As silence enveloped them, Mr. Thompson placed a hand on Emma's shoulder, a gesture of support that spoke volumes. Could they truly transform the feelings of doubt into action? Would they be able to unite a community once clouded by fears? Emma took a breath, looking into Mr. Thompson's encouraging eyes, ready to take on whatever it would take. The crossroads lay ahead, but a question lingered in the air. Would they overcome the hurdles that divided them? And somewhere in the background, the stray dogs watched, their eyes reflecting a glimmer of hope. Would this be the moment that would change everything? The tug of fate was pulling tighter beyond the picnics and the check. Something deeper was calling to unite them all. The crowd stood in a charged silence, the tension palpable. Emma felt the weight of every gaze on her. The billion-dollar question lay suspended in the air, crackling with uncertainty and potential. She could feel her pulse in her throat, a constant reminder of the decision ahead. "Mr. Thompson," Emma began, her voice steadier than she felt. "What if we turned this into something special? A community effort? We can keep raising funds, not only for the doghouse but for an entire shelter." She was grasping at ideas, but she sensed something in her words resonating. Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed, and for a brief moment, the vulnerability flickered across his face. "Emma, it's one thing to promise money today, but you're asking for more, a commitment that requires real work and unity." "Exactly. We can organize fundraisers, events where people come together for the animals. We can spread awareness through social media. It's not just about you giving money. It's about us all coming together." The murmurs from the crowd began to grow. Emma's heart raced with growing excitement. They were listening. She glanced around, spotting familiar faces within the sea of strangers. Neighbors, volunteers from the last outreach, children with hopeful eyes. Someone from the crowd shouted, "We could host a bake sale. Everyone loves cookies. Or a pet wash day. I can bring my dog." Another voice chimed in, Emma felt a strong pulse of hope wash over her. Yes, yes. Together we can create something that lasts beyond today. We can call it pause for a cause or shelter of hope. Cheers erupted, and she felt emboldened by their enthusiasm. The whispers of doubt between the crowd faded, replaced by determination. People started to rally together, brainstorming ideas, handing out phone numbers, planning smaller meetings to flesh out their plans. Emma turned back to Mr. Thompson. His expression had shifted. The stern businessman was softening, his eyes sparkling with something she couldn't quite name. "I believe in what you're saying, Emma," he said, his voice getting more animated. "You've ignited something in me. Just like you, I want to make this right." Those words ignited a feeling of acceptance and, more importantly, partnership. It wasn't just a wealthy man's donation anymore. It was a shared vision. Before they could revel too much in the moment, Dave shot another question from the back of the crowd, his tone sharper. "And how do we know this is going to last? What happens when the money runs out?" Emma felt a knot tighten in her stomach again, the fear creeping back. But this time she held it at bay. Change doesn't stop with money. It starts with us, with the way we choose to act as a community. If we come together, we can ensure this continues long after any donation. The crowd erupted in shouts of agreement, one by one people expressing their willingness to pitch in and make a difference. "Let us vote," someone yelled, and everyone began to buzz about it. Lines drawn in the sand were being erased. They weren't separate anymore, but a single entity, excited and determined. Mr. Thompson, standing with Emma at the epicenter of all this energy, glanced at her, awe flickering in his eyes. "You really think we can do this?" Emma nodded vigorously. "I know we can. What's next, Mr. Thompson?" As the crowd began to discuss strategies, ideas, and plans, Emma found herself beaming. She felt on the verge of something monumental. But beneath the excitement simmered the urgent realization of what was at stake. What if they failed? Just as the crowd appeared to solidify into action, a sudden bark echoed off the surrounding trees. The strays moving closer, their thin bodies silhouetted against the backdrop of the setting sun. It was the reminder of why they were all gathered here today, a living reminder that their efforts mattered. She turned, seeing the cautious strays inching toward them with hope etched into their gaze. Emma smiled, but an underlying concern struck her. How many strays remained waiting for help outside this moment? And how many opportunities would they need to seize along the way? For as loudly as they cheered today, there were hurdles ahead, and time would reveal just how deep their commitment ran. The future lay uncertain, but one thing was clear. The journey had only just begun. As the cheers of the crowd began to fade into an excited hum, Emma felt a stirring situation escalate around her. The strays, once mere silhouettes, stepped nearer, their emaciated bodies trembling but hopeful. Those pleading eyes found Emma's, and her heart clenched tightly. This was about more than just fundraising now. It was about lives hanging in the balance. "Look at them," she said softly, her voice almost drowned out by the crowd's chatter. "They need us. They deserve to feel safe." The words barely left her lips before a hush fell over the crowd again. All eyes diverted toward the dogs shivering under the fading sun. "Hear us the deal," Emma continued, her confidence returning with resolve. "If we can channel this energy today, we can create a safe haven not just for the dogs here but for all animals in need." A woman from the back shouted, "We've got to do something immediately. What can we do right now?" Emma's mind raced, fueled by the urgency in the air. "Everyone, let us take immediate action. Who can volunteer to care for these strays until we get the shelter built? We need fosters." Hands shot up, faces filled with determination. Names began to fill the air. Mandy, Carlos, Jenna, and Emma felt her chest swell with pride. Already, the promise of action was unfolding. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his presence commanding attention once more. "I'll match every dollar raised today. Create a fund where every donation, no matter how small, can help. But we need a plan. If we get everyone organized, we won't just raise money, we'll raise hope." Cheers erupted again, louder this time. Emma felt a jolt of energy wash over her. She smiled at Thompson, but there were still questions he hadn't answered. What about sustainability? She pressed, her brow furrowing slightly. We can't just build a shelter and turn away when they've all been adopted. Then we build a community around it, he replied, meeting her gaze. This isn't just a doghouse. It's a center for education, resources, and outreach. We'll partner with local businesses and schools. The more community involvement we have, the stronger we become. The crowd erupted with ideas, hopes woven into the fabric of their collective effort. Emma stood back, soaking in the vibrant energy. For a moment, it felt like everything was possible. Then, the bark of a stray pulled her back into reality. One little brown pup had moved courageously from the group, its uncertain steps filling the space between humans and animals. Emma noticed it looked so lost, yet it head cocked to the side, curious about the commotion. She bent her knees, meeting the pup's eyes. Hey there, little one. She extended her hand. You're safe here. To her surprise, it took a hesitant step closer, the youth in the crowd gasping at the sight. A child nearby burst out. Can we name him Hope? A wave of yes washed over the crowd, and Emma's heart thrummed rapidly. In this moment, they weren't just fighting for an idea, they were fighting for a life. It was tangible, real, and beautiful. As they began to brainstorm potential names for the other strays and recycle ideas for their upcoming efforts, Emma felt her pulse steadying. Community was igniting around them, setting a new foundation for everything they hoped to achieve. But as dusk fell, and the first stars peeked through the darkening sky, Emma felt the weight of responsibility settle around her shoulders. They needed to produce results, and fast. The urgency of their mission was undeniable. Suddenly, from the trees emerged a different figure, an older woman with kind eyes and a cane. Emma recognized her as Miss Thompson, Mr. Thompson's reclusive mother. Would she support their mission or dampen their spirits? What's her story? Emma wondered, her heart racing as she considered the paths of their journey ahead. Could her presence shift the tides in their favor, or would it unravel the unity they had just built? The moment Miss Thompson stepped into view, the crowd hushed again. Emma felt the air thicken with anticipation, a mix of hope and uncertainty. The older woman shuffled forward slowly, the cane tapping rhythmically against the ground, echoing the beating of Emma's heart. Good evening, everyone, Miss Thompson began, her voice warm yet fragile. I've watched from the shadows, but today, I needed to come out and witness this for myself. Her gaze swept across the crowd, lingering on the strays. Animals have always been close to my heart, and I see you all have big hearts too. Emma held her breath. This could be the turning point they desperately needed. Years ago, I started a similar initiative, but life took me on a different path, Miss Thompson continued. Now, I want to help turn that dream into reality. I can't promise millions, but perhaps a little funding to help you get started. A small seed donation to nurture this garden of compassion. A murmur spread through the audience. Emma caught Mr. Thompson's eyes. They sparkled with understanding. She felt a rush of gratitude towards the elderly woman, who seemed to be reaching deep into her past to find light to share with this new generation. Let us make this a community project, Miss Thompson said, her voice gaining strength. However, I need you all to understand that love is not just a word. It requires action. This initiative will only thrive if we tirelessly support each other and these animals. I'll volunteer my time, too, to help train those who want to be a part of the shelter. We can offer skills that will last beyond today. Emma's heart swelled. They weren't just building walls for a doghouse. They were constructing a foundation for love and community. Excitement rippled through the crowd again, and hands reached out to volunteer, to donate, to stand with Miss Thompson and each other. Then, a little girl near the front of the crowd raised her hand shyly. Can we have a day to play with the dogs and teach people how to take care of them? She asked, her voice small but brave. Yes, Emma exclaimed, beaming. That's a brilliant idea. Dog days in the park. Her mind raced with the possibilities. Maybe they could have adoption events, awareness campaigns, all of it seemed possible now. Let us schedule our first meeting tomorrow morning to discuss the details. We'll divide into smaller groups to tackle each aspect of the plan. Emma shouted, her spirits lifting with each word. The crowd responded with energizing applause, each clap resonating with intention, a pledge to come together. Emma looked around at the faces around her now filled with encouragement. They sparked with ideas, a community transforming before her eyes. But just as the excitement peaked, Emma felt an unsettling wave roll through her. She shifted her attention to the little brown pup, Hope, now curled up in her lap. The aftermath of their momentum felt heavy, and with every cheer, she was reminded of their daunting journey ahead. Will they understand what it takes? Will they rally when things get hard? She thought, worry creeping into her mind. As darkness crept further across the landscape, it highlighted the uncertainty. And then Emma remembered Miss Thompson's words. They wouldn't be alone. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet seemed to pulse with energy, a sense of camaraderie building like a living thing. Just then, the sound of rustling in the nearby trees caught Emma's attention. From the shadows emerged another figure, a man with a determined expression and a box cradled in his arms. Who was he? Could he be another ally or just an unexpected visitor? Emma's pulse quickened. The night was growing deeper, but with it came a new possibility. What secrets did the stranger hold? The man stepped forward, holding the box close as if it contained the very essence of his purpose. A flicker of moonlight illuminated his face, revealing a faint smile mixed with curiosity. Good evening, he called out, projecting his voice to break the lingering tension in the air. As the crowd turned to face him, Emma felt a rush of hope surge within her. Who was the stranger? I couldn't help but overhear the wonderful plans you have here, he continued, glancing around at the excited crowd. It's inspiring. I have something I want to share. The box he held was opened slowly, and inside, Emma caught sight of a collection of colorful dog toys, blankets, and food bowls. A gasp escaped from the crowd. Children, young and old alike, shuffled closer, eyes wide in anticipation. My name is Jace, he said, his eyes scanning over the crowd's eager expressions. I used to volunteer at a shelter just like the one you're all planning. When I heard what Miss Thompson was about to start, I knew I had to help. Emma felt her chest tighten with joy. This was what they needed, someone who understood their mission. Jace had already secured the attention of the crowd, sparking a new wave of excitement. I've packed some supplies to get you started, he declared. And I'd love to come tomorrow to help set things up. Everyone can pitch in. We can make a difference together. Cheers erupted from the crowd, blending voices in a joyful chorus that rang through the chilling night air. Neighbors began embracing each other. The mom from down the street, the high school students who always passed by, the older man who had once eyed them skeptically. Emma couldn't help but think about how this evening was morphing into something magical. The people around her were suddenly united, their hearts resonating with shared purpose. They weren't just brainstorming plans for helping dogs. They were building a legacy of cooperation. Let us give each dog their own name, a young boy shouted, and let us make signs to show people how to adopt them. Ideas rolled out like a tidal wave, and Emma found herself laughing, cheering, joining in on the creativity. But amidst all this excitement, a sudden pang of apprehension squeezed at her heart. They were all so eager, but would enthusiasm be enough? What if tomorrow brought challenges they weren't prepared for? Jace, she spoke up, taking a step closer. Thank you. It means so much that you're willing to help. But, do you think we might face pushback? People don't always see the value in shelters. Jace nodded, his gaze steady. Of course it won't be easy, but what's worth fighting for rarely is. With each of us working hard and staying united, we'll push through. We have to believe people care. His voice was calm, and Emma found strength in it. The sound of distant sirens echoed in the background, a reminder of a world that often forgets the gentle needs of creatures craving love. Emma swallowed that sadness down for now. She drew in a deep breath, reminding herself of the warmth radiating from a united community. Let us do this. Let us keep the momentum going. Together we can show them. Emma's voice soared, echoing as she encouraged everyone to gather closer. The crowd buzzed with shared determination. Yet, even as excitement thrummed in the air, Emma couldn't shake off the feeling that more awaited them than just a community project. What past lived in Jace's eyes? What lessons from his experiences could he share? As they moved together, hearts ignited. The shadows around them seemed to thicken. Emma's spirit wavered between hope and uncertainty, weighing just how steeped in complexity their journey would be. She glanced at Jace, suddenly aware that this was just the beginning of something far beyond her original dream. Will we be enough? She thought, filled with urgency as she looked around. But somewhere in her heart, a flicker of certainty pulsed. She couldn't wait to find out what was coming next. With night wrapping around them like a cloak, Emma could feel more than just the fear of what lay ahead. She sensed the stirring of change. As they chatted animatedly, Emma knew the dawn would bring more than just a meeting. It would test everything they hoped for. As the excitement continued to bubble among the crowd, Emma felt a surprising surge of energy. She could hardly contain herself as she jumped into the flurry of ideas. The fact that they were finally coming together made her heart race faster than she thought it could. Children tossed out names for the dogs. Adults discussed potential routes for creating awareness, and every suggestion fueled the atmosphere. How about Lucky for the golden retriever? A little girl shouted, pointing to a photo Emma had printed out of a dog that needed a home. Or Nacho for the scruffy one. Another chimed in, and laughter rang out at the ridiculous suggestion. Jace watched, his expression a mix of satisfaction and encouragement. Emma stole glances his way, trying to decipher what was going on behind his calm demeanor. What was his story? How had he landed in this park in this moment? The harmony of the crowd contrasted with the quiet wariness she felt brewing in her chest. Eventually, Emma gathered her thoughts enough to pull everyone back together. We should also think about how we can get others involved. Her heart thrummed with all the possibilities. It felt magnificent to be part of something bigger, to weave connections that could turn into lasting friendships. Maybe we can set up a community barbecue, something fun to draw people in, show them our passion. The idea was met with applause and cheers. For everyone standing there, the night was electric. But as they dispersed with their own tasks in mind, she felt a tug at her heart. Jace, she called out as he turned to leave. Can we talk for a minute? Sure, he replied, stepping closer. What's on your mind? Thank you for bringing those supplies. They mean so much. But how can we be ready for any possible criticism tomorrow? The words tumbled from her mouth, fueled by the concern that lurked in her heart. People were excited, but doubt hung in the air like fog. I can't promise you everyone will see things the same way, Jace said, his voice even. People are set in their ways. Some might think shelters are just a nuisance. But if we share our story, if we show them the love that goes into caring for these animals, we'll reach them. Emma nodded, encouraged but still unsure. I just want to make sure. I don't want to let anyone down. You won tea, he assured her, stepping back as others filtered around them, still buzzing. Just remember why you started this. Comes from the heart. Their eyes locked for a moment, and Emma felt a wave of understanding wash over her. This was more than just about the dogs. It was about building a community. It was about finding hope in shared vulnerabilities, and Jace carried that understanding, even if they both were just beginning to realize the full weight of it. Thanks, Jace. You really have a way of calming the storm inside me, she said softly. He smiled, holding her gaze for a moment longer. Sometimes we just need someone to remind us why we're here. Don't lose sight of that. As he stepped away to rejoin the others, Emma felt a mix of appreciation and anxiety. Could their small community truly make the impact they desired? She turned back to the crowd, taking a deep breath. Tomorrow was approaching quickly, bringing with it both hope and uncertainty. Emma knew deep down that their little group had the spark they needed to create something alive. But the weight of doubt lingered. Would they be enough? She took a moment to watch families embracing, laughter echoing through the park, the moonlight casting a soft glow. A dog barked in the distance, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. Then, just as quickly, the sound of shuffling shoes and an excited commotion pulled her focus back. A couple approached, their faces lit with curiosity and determination. Emma's heart raced again. Who were they and what did they want? Excuse me, one of them called, stepping into the circle. We heard about your plans. We'd like to help. Emma's breath caught in her throat. This was it. The opportunity she'd been waiting for. But as the couple stepped closer, the edges of their faces etched with both eagerness and something else. She couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenges were only beginning. What were their true intentions? Did they carry the support she hoped for? Or would this open the door to complications she wasn't ready for? With resolve and uncertainty dancing in her chest, Emma met their eyes, determined to learn what lay ahead. The couple stepped into the circle, their expressions a blend of hope and enthusiasm that momentarily distracted Emma from her worries. The man was tall, with a warm smile that reached his eyes, while the woman stood confidently beside him, her determination palpable. "Thank you for being out here," the man said, his voice steady. "We heard about your initiative to help the animals and we want to pitch in." Emma could hardly believe it. "Really? That would be amazing. What kind of help are you thinking?" "We're both local business owners," the woman replied, her brown eyes sparkling. "We could really contribute resources, maybe a venue for your barbecue, some supplies, and we'd love to help spread the word." Emma felt a rush of relief mixed with excitement. This was the support she had wished for, yet a hint of hesitation lingered. "That sounds incredible, but I don't want to step on any toes. This is a community effort." "We completely understand." The man smiled, holding up his hands as if to ease her worries. "We want to support the community you've built, not take it over. We just believe in what you're doing." Emma exchanged glances with Jace, who had moved closer to listen. He was watching the couple intently, as if trying to assess their sincerity. "That's truly generous of you," Emma finally said, letting some hope seep through her initial suspicion. "We could use all the help we can get." As if sensing her shifting emotions, the woman stepped closer, her voice softening. "We know how hard it is to make a difference. We didn't always have it easy either. Our journey has taught us that giving back is vital. If we can help, we want to." Emma felt an aching warmth in her chest. Their words resonated, mirroring her own hope, a longing for a community that cared. Just as she was starting to feel a sense of connection, a loud bark broke through the moment. The scruffy dog from the shelter, now bounding toward them with infectious energy. "Oh look, it's Max," Emma said, crouching down to greet the playful pup. The couple chuckled, and Emma felt a wave of joy bubble up. Max circled around her, tail wagging furiously, bringing with him a reminder of the mission that was pulling everyone together. Suddenly, the weight of doubt began to dissipate. Maybe this was the spark they all needed, a new beginning fueled by collaboration and a shared love for the animals. As laughter exploded from the crowd, Emma turned her attention back to the couple. "If you're really interested in helping with the barbecue, we could use a few more ideas for activities. Something fun to draw in families and engage people." "Absolutely," the man replied, already animated. "What if we set up a petting zoo with some adoptable animals? I know a few volunteers who'd jump at the chance to help." Emma clapped her hands together, invigorated by the thought. Yes, that could really work. Just then, Jace cleared his throat, drawing their attention. "I'm glad you want to help, but what's your angle? Are you just genuinely passionate about this cause? Or is there something else going on?" The couple exchanged a glance, uncertainty flickering across their faces. The air shifted slightly, and Emma's heart raced again. Had she misread their intentions? "Of course, we're passionate," the woman spoke, her voice firm but not defensive. "But we also want to build connections and be part of something bigger." As Emma absorbed their words, her heart battled between hope and wariness. Could the couple be trusted? Would their involvement truly benefit the community she was trying to build? Just then, the joyful barks and laughter surrounding them echoed that hopeful spark, leaving Emma with a sense of possibility. But in the depths of her mind, unanswered questions swirled like autumn leaves caught in a gust, and she couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead. As the sun began to dip, bathing the park in a soft orange glow, Emma felt the pull of fate drawing her deeper into this journey. She smiled at the couple, waiting for the next reveal, while the world around them seemed to hold its breath. What exactly was their story, and would they truly be allies in this fight for the dogs' futures? Emma watched the couple with cautious optimism. Their smiles were genuine, but Jace's questions still loomed. She turned her gaze back to Max, who was now attempting to charm another bystander with well-timed licks and playful barks. His carefree spirit reminded her of why they were all here. The moment boiled down to the animals and the community they could build around them. "All right, how about this?" Emma said, shifting her tone to something more relaxed. "What if we brainstorm a few ideas together? Something fun could draw in families, but we want it to resonate with the heart of the community." The woman nodded eagerly, stepping forward. "How about a best-in-show contest? We could have different categories: cutest pet, best rescue story, that sort of thing." Emma could feel her heart beat faster. "That's a fantastic idea. It highlights the stories of the animals and their owners. We could even include a family activity area with games," the man suggested. His eyes sparkled with excitement. This could be a day for everyone, not just pet owners. At that moment, other volunteers began to gather around, drawn by the infectious energy of the conversation. Each one offered their own ideas, and laughter quickly filled the air as the group began to spin a delightful tapestry of possibility. Emma felt herself getting lost in the enthusiasm, the lingering reservations slipping away with every suggestion. But amidst the excitement, Jace remained on the edge, his expression guarded. Emma shot him a look, pleading for him to join in, but his gaze was fixed on the couple. She could sense the tension in the air shifting, as uncertainty hung like a thick fog. "Jace, what do you think?" she finally asked, trying to coax him into the spirit of collaboration. He hesitated before responding, his brow furrowed. "It all sounds great, but I still want to make sure we know what their motives are. Something seems off with them." Emma's heart sank a little at his words. Was she being too trusting? The couple seemed sincere, but Jace's instincts were usually sharp. "Let us just see where this goes. We can ask the right questions as we continue planning." The couple continued to toss around ideas about different activities to include, while Emma caught snippets of conversations. The atmosphere gradually transformed, and she allowed herself to be swept along. Hope began to flourish again. But just then, a man walked by with a poster advertising a nearby dog rescue. Emma's heart quickened as she noticed the photo of a beautiful golden retriever on the flyer. The dog seemed to gaze directly into her soul. "Isn't he beautiful?" she exclaimed, taking a step closer to the poster. "Definitely," the tall man said, lingering behind her. "You have a soft spot for golden retrievers?" Emma nodded. "Max is a scruffy mutt, but I'd love to find a golden a forever home." As she glanced back at the couple, she felt a flicker of doubt again. Was there something more to their story? Something they weren't revealing that might shake this budding partnership? Suddenly, the woman turned to Emma, her expression intense. "We want to help, Emma. Our connections run deeper than this. Together we can do so much." Emma's breath caught in her throat. Did they know something she didn't? What were they really after? The questions tangled in her mind, battling against the warmth blooming in her heart. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Emma stood at a crossroads. The energy around her was electric, yet a cloud of doubt loomed. Could she afford to trust them completely? Or was there a secret buried beneath their enthusiasm? Feeling the weight of the moment, she knew one thing as her heartbeat quickened: answers were coming. And she'd soon discover if this newfound partnership was built to last, or if trust would be their undoing. The morning sun broke through the clouds, spilling golden light over Maplevale like a soft embrace. It was the day of the fundraiser, and hope fluttered in every corner of the park. Emma stood in front of the makeshift stage, heart pounding with excitement and nerves. The community was coming together, drawn by a cause that had brought buried dreams back to life. As people began to arrive, laughter filled the air. Families set up picnic blankets, children ran with joyful abandon, and dogs barked, eager to join the festivities. Emma's spirit soared, yet the mixed feelings from the previous night lingered. Jace stood close by, watching as the couple who had approached Emma the night before busily helped finalize the activities. His expression remained skeptical, a reminder to Emma that while excitement grew, vigilance still mattered. The couple approached with new faces joining their small group, enthusiasm washing over them like warm waves. "We're all set for the day," the woman exclaimed, her confidence infectious. "We've got games, food stalls, and a best-in-show contest that everyone is buzzing about." Emma smiled, trying to push aside the lingering doubt. "That's amazing. It feels like everyone has really come together." Yet, in the back of her mind, potential questions loomed like storm clouds waiting to burst. As the event kicked off, Emma took a moment to breathe deeply, grounding herself in the joy around her. She couldn't help but feel grateful for this rallying community. The children ran to the dog petting area, laughter blending with the barks of excited pups. Emma had even managed to corral a few volunteers to help raise funds for their cause. It felt like a dream. The best-in-show contest was next, and Emma could feel her heart thumping as she gathered everyone around. "Let us see the love for these amazing animals," she announced, clapping her hands to rally the crowd. From a distance, Max, the scruffy dog who had stolen her heart, pranced around a young girl, his tongue lolling happily. The crowd giggled, ready to vote for their favorites, while Emma felt a deep warmth spreading in her chest. Community was blooming right before her eyes. However, as the first dog paraded down the makeshift runway, Emma caught a glimpse of Jace talking to the couple. Their body language shifted, the smiles evaporating into something that felt disconcerting. She felt an urge pull her closer, but doubt had woven itself around her heart. "Who is going to win today?" she asked aloud to the crowd, bringing their attention back to the event. Laughter erupted, but a shadow flickered in her peripheral vision. Jace approached her, glancing over his shoulder at the couple. "Emma, can we talk for a minute? I don't want to alarm you," but he hesitated, fidgeting with his hands. "I overheard them discussing logistics. Something doesn't add up." Emma's stomach dropped. The spark of joy she felt moments ago flickered, dimmed by uncertainty. "What are you saying?" He took a breath, urgency in his tone. "They keep mentioning their connections in a way that feels off. I think there's more to their intentions. We should keep our eyes peeled. Just be cautious." Emma nodded, her heart heavy with worry. How could she protect this beautiful moment while still navigating potential pitfalls? She turned back toward the crowd, focusing on the buzzing energy that surged through them. Yet, her heart ached with the possibility that this alliance might be more complicated than it seemed. "All right, everyone, let us pick our favorite pets," she called out, forcing a smile. Yet inside, doubts churned violently. The stakes had risen, and she felt the weight of responsibility. This wasn't just about her dreams. Lives depended on the success of their efforts. As votes were counted, laughter and applause rang out. It washed over her, drowning out her concerns momentarily. She couldn't let her worries overshadow what they were building together. Just then, the couple approached her again, an eagerness in their eyes. "We found a local sponsor willing to donate food for the next few months. That can help you keep the momentum," the man announced, his voice buoyant. Emma's heart fluttered. This news could change everything. "That's incredible. Thank you so much." She felt excitement surge through her once more, but Jace stepped forward beside her. Before we dive in, he interjected softly, "Can we get some transparency on how this is all organized? We're working together as a community. It's important to understand how each of us fits here." Emma felt her breath catch. The tension in the air thickened, laden with apprehension. The couple exchanged glances, their smiles faltering for just an instant. "Of course," the woman replied, trying to regain their footing. "We want this to be a collaborative effort." A collective hush fell over the crowd. Emma felt a mixture of hope and dread. This could be a defining moment. With a firm voice, Jace pressed on. "This is about building trust. It's crucial that we all understand what we're forging here together. Can you explain how you envision involvement with fundraising and the community?" Emma could feel all eyes on the couple, anticipation rippling through the crowd. Would they embrace transparency and reclaim the moment or retreat into their guarded shell? The minutes stretched into eternity. Suddenly, the woman straightened her shoulders and met their gazes. You are right. We want not just to be another face, but to truly support the community's journey. She continued with renewed vigor, laying out her vision and desire for collaboration with the shelter. As her words flowed, Emma felt the weight lift, the storm clouds beginning to part. The crowd's faces went from wary to engaged, and optimism swelled once more. But just as the tide seemed to turn in their favor, a distant sound interrupted a bark, followed by a yelp. All heads turned as one of the stray dogs, caught in the middle of the crowd, barked again, drawing attention. Emma's heart raced. Would they rise to the challenge and find the strength as a community to respond? In that moment, awareness rushed back. The barks were a reminder. They weren't just here to celebrate. They were being called to action. Would the day end in an alliance forged in trust? Or would doubt creep like shadows again? With renewed determination, Emma stepped forward, taking the lead. Let us focus on why we're all gathered here. She spoke, feeling the strength of her own heart pulse through her words. This is a day for connection. Together, we can be the voice for every pup that needs shelter. If we invest in each other, we can change lives. The murmur returned, sharper this time, building towards a crescendo. The crowd erupted with renewed energy, applause echoing, and Emma felt supported again in this swirling sea of emotion. As they began to rally together once more, hope surged in her heart. They were all coming together, and this was just the spark they needed to ignite change. In the midst of it all, she caught Jace's eyes. For the first time amid all the noise, he smiled reassuringly, and a wave of gratitude washed over her. This was going to be the beginning of something bigger, a legacy that would transcend beyond any skepticism. As the fundraiser unfolded, she felt a weight lifted, a sense of purpose blossoming into a promise. This was not just about strays seeking shelter. It was about a community reclaiming its heart. It was about love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that together, they could weather any storm. And with that thought in her mind, she knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning of an inspiring journey they would take together. Now, as you reflect on this heartfelt moment, take action. You need to subscribe now to our channel. Don't miss out on the next chapter of transformative stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and keep these stories blooming. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this emotional ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel the power of community and support. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.